Hi everybody, it's Dave from Wing Chun Mind Force. It's 2 weeks since I last posted. I'm sorry, things got a little busy and I just sort of didn't feel really inspired, but I'm back, and as I always say, I deeply appreciate all your cool comments and likes, and I don't get many thumbs downs. I think my last video got 2 thumbs down, which I found was interesting. Because my stuff's not political or anything like that, I tend to think if I get a thumbs down, I must be saying something that appears controversial or maybe different to what other teachers are saying. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. Anyway, today I'm going to read and talk about a note that I made back in the 29th of the 11th, 2000. It's currently the 22nd of the 11th, 2020, so it's pretty much 20 years old, this note. I've always kept these notebooks, and what I've written is Sifu, meaning Sifu Suzzana Ho, who was teaching me at the time. He was an incredible teacher and very close to Chun and trained with him for 11 years, a lot, in Hong Kong, speaks Chinese, obviously, so there's a lot of depth in her understanding that I think you can't always find in people who don't speak Chinese, the subtleties that get missed. And that's one of my missions, has been to get to know the good Chinese practitioners and get their deeper thoughts about the cultural aspects of things, obviously about Wing Chun. But Sifu said to me, the most important thing is to learn to redirect the force into the ground by sending your mind into the ground. Don't lock up at the hips or the legs. Stay relaxed. Just think the spine straight. Don't worry about the arms and what they do as you roll. I was talking about Chisao here. If you are using the brain to think about what's happening, then by the time you realize I am doing something, I am already doing the next thing. Let the body go with it. Everything is about the mind, or it's wrong. And she emphasized that, and I put cool in inverted, in brackets, cool. So that's 20 years ago. So you can see from the very start I was very influenced by her thinking, and as I've gone on through the years, I've been very lucky to have extremely competent teachers, but they've all emphasized different versions and different depths of this idea that you just use the mind, you don't use the body. So let's look at the first part. I remember I wrote this down. I can actually remember the night we, in her school in Sydney, we used to just come in as very relaxed. She used to have easy listening music, which to my younger male taste was like, yeah, but eventually I started to like it. She always had Chinese tea hot, and the jug to boil. And it was very relaxed, and we used to just do our form. At that time it was just Sun Im Dao. We just practice our form slowly, mindfully, and then she would come and check us out. I'd check out the form, and then would roll with each of us, and that was a really great thing, that have somebody at her very high level individually rolling at you for a time, so you could learn a lot of things. And also her senior student Norman Ma, who was very, very good, and he would roll with us as well. And a couple of the other guys. There was a guy called Chun, who was a great guy, and a few others. Anyway, she says the most important thing is to learn to redirect the force into the ground by sending your mind into the ground. Now, Sibak Frederick Mo once said this to me, and there is an idea, which is perhaps a more advanced idea, that you don't take the force in at all, or you just take it into your center, but it's sort of baby steps. And I think this idea of taking it in the ground is the first major step, because you want to be able to relax your legs so much that their force comes in and just goes straight down into the ground, and it doesn't affect you, and it sort of roots you to the ground. And that's another thing people don't like, is the idea of rooting, as in getting stuck on the ground. But it's just a practice idea. It's not like you're going to grow roots. You want to dissipate their force, take it in, not push back at them. So that was the first thing, and because I was practically a beginner, she was getting me to think that, and helped. And she says, this is really crucial, don't lock up at the hips or the legs. Now, it took me years to really understand how important that is, but a lot of people try to make a stiff stance with the legs bent and the toes pointing in. They just try to relax that, and it's a sort of a worthy thing to do if you can do it. I know people can do it, but the most important thing is not to tighten up, not to tighten your hips, to just give your hips a bit of a swivel, not be stiff like some kind of robot. And also don't lock up your legs. Don't feel like they've got to be these immovable, stiff things. Everything wants to be alive, springy, and free. That's why I emphasise the floating ball idea. So if you don't really think about your legs, you just have them soft. You want them as soft as possible, almost as if they're not there. That's the right state for your legs and hips. So then she says, think the spine straight, which is another thing that I harp on about. It's a double S, so you can't make it straight. You just think it straight. It's just a concept that you work on, and it mightn't mean much to you at first, but just see if you can do it. See if you can feel the top, feel the bottom. Imagine a straight line going through it. Just feel as if your spine's connected top to bottom, and the feelings will get stronger and stronger with time. Don't worry about the arms and what they do as you roll. One of my friends on here, Busco Rails, just sent me a message. G'day, mate. I'm going to call out to you and my other friends at the end of this. So we were rolling, and she was talking about rolling. She says, don't worry about the arms and what they do as you roll. Now, that's pretty profound, because most of us tend to think of Chi Sao as always worrying about what your arms are doing, having the perfect shapes, tracking through the other guy, finding the chinks in his armour, trapping him, turning him aside, all this sort of thing. We're thinking it, we're working it out, right? Now, people can be very good at that, but what I consider real Wing Chun, internally done Wing Chun, you don't want to do that. You want to, obviously, we have to learn the shapes, the shapes in Chi Sao, and I'm going to make some videos about Chi Sao soon, but the most important thing she's saying is don't worry about your arms. And this is exactly what one of my videos ages ago, or it might have been on my Facebook page, Wing Chun Mind Force, Bruce Lee's master Yip Man said to him, forget about your arms and what you're doing. This is a real oldie and a goodie in the Hong Kong Wing Chun Yip Man lineage. If you are using the brain to think about what's happening, then by the time you realise I am doing something, I'm already doing the next thing. Isn't that brilliant? So she's saying, don't try to follow what I'm doing, because by the time your brain clicks what I'm doing the next thing. So you're always behind. She says, let the body go with it. Everything is about the mind, or it's wrong. So here this is where the confusion happens, brain and mind. What isn't it the same thing? Everything's about the mind, but then you're saying don't use the brain. I see this as, it's simply don't use the conscious mind, the thinking mind we use in normal life to try and work out what the other guy's doing, what you're doing. Just use the mind, which is meaning the Nim Dao, the subconscious mind, the unconscious mind, the mind of the body. That's why she says don't worry about the arms, because they know what to do. It's amazing, but we negate our instinct by not believing our instinct. We've got incredible instincts. We've got this mind that does stuff, keeps your heart beating, keeps your lungs working, keeps all your organs doing all their organy things. you sleep during the night. Are you there controlling what's happening? No, you still wake up alive usually. That's because this other mind is real and it's just always there, unseen to the conscious mind. It's always working away. So in Wing Chun, we're learning to access that mind consciously, sort of like actually let it do its thing. And so Sifu Suzzana was saying, everything is about the mind or it's wrong. And I put 2 exclamation marks, so she must have been very emphatic about it. And people have taken me on about this in the past and said, but you got to think about your body. You got to have the right alignment of your muscles and your bones and your fascia, and point this and point that and point that. And it's like, I don't agree. I think shape hardly matters for a beginner. It's important to just get the general idea for the first year or 2 maybe. But what we want is for the body to disappear. Stop thinking about the body, obsessing about the body. Let the natural mind of the body do its work. And that's where the power is. So I'll leave it at that. That's my wisdom from 20 years ago that I'm sharing with you. And I'd just like to give a shout out to some of my mates on here. Now, you guys know who you are. It is all guys. I don't know, maybe some girls hidden amongst the funny names, but I hope there are. But I really, really, really appreciate you guys, your comments. That's why I keep doing this. I'm not getting any money out of it. I don't get any famous Sifus writing to me going, "Oh, number 1, yeah, that's great, Dave." I've got a couple of mates who like what I do, but mostly I'm sort of just a voice crying in the wilderness about some things. But I would like to say a big thank you to Rob Field, Keith Peavy, Ganice Videos, Everlasting Wing Chun, I think that's Dunedin, Bhaskar Rao from India, Brendan Mifsud, Chris Lopez Sr., Vitriol Earth, Michelle Boulay, a terrific Sifu from Canada who I'm going to one day get around to interviewing, Fernando Nunez, I appreciate your comments, mate, Nikki Gaming, Joe Chirilla, Brian Patrick, this one's a hard one to say, Kor Snosbig. Anyway, it's a cool name. It's got a funny, almost like a Japanese, one of those Japanese sort of monstrous swordsman types. Anyway, I appreciate your comments. Katna Chris has been commenting for a long time. Victor Martins, appreciate your comments. Mirko Mellis, I think he's my troll, but I do appreciate your comments anyway. Sung Wing Chun, very, very influential on me in the last couple of years. Jason's Secret Sword, that's a cool name. Thanks, Jason. Really appreciate you, mate. Chris Wright, my old mate from south of England, Cornwall. Sorry if I'm wrong, mate. I think that's right. Rob Field, did I say you? Aquilino from Spain. Here he says, good video, thank you, cheers from Spain. Thanks, mate. I really appreciate it. Paul Williams is a cool guy. He's written me a lot of great comments. How you going, Paul? The Asphalt Gamer said, amazing video, full of insights as usual. Your contribution and wisdom highly praiseworthy. God bless you. Eagerly waiting for your next video. Wow. Thank you, Asphalt Gamer. May God bless you. You're a cool dude as well. And just scrolling through this app. GC, that's G and then SEA. He wrote some great comments, appreciated. Cornish Chippy. I think that's the same as Chris. Anyway, Cornish Chippy. It's going back a ways now. I did mention Brendan Mifsud. Suresh Jadav asked for some English subtitles, I think because my Australian accent's a little bit broad sometimes. Sorry about that, mate. I'll get around to doing that. Carl Drinkwater, my old mate from New Zealand, very experienced practitioner in Sifu. Thanks, Carl. He's a good guy. Yeah, I think that's going back a long ways. And somebody called JK. Terrific comment. Yeah, so I'll leave it at that. Beef 1972. Great video and relevant to me as I've trained for 25 years. And if I thought I had to wait another 25 to feel this type of stuff, it would be very off-putting. I've been trying for a while and felt nothing. It took me a long time to feel chi in my hands when training, so I'm not giving up. So good on you, mate. Beef 1972. Ganbatte, as the Japanese say. Keep trying. We shall keep trying. Okay. See ya. See you next time.